Today I'm going to show you how to change the front pads and rotor on this first generation Toyota Highlander. This is the V6 version, but the 4-cylinder should have a similar brake system. First, what we'll do is we'll chalk the back of the wheels. As you can see here, I've already taken off the wheel and put the car on jack stands. And what we'll do here is we'll take the cap off the reservoir, and we'll just leave it right on top so no dust will fall in. There are going to be a couple ways on how to do this procedure. The way I do it is that I use a C-clamp and I squeeze the piston into the caliper, and then the brake fluid will flow in. The other way would be to just maybe squeeze the brake line here and then let the brake fluid come out of the bleeder. But this is the way I've been doing it. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to get a C-clamp. This one's a 6-inch C-clamp, and you're going to put one end right here. Be sure not to use the C-clamp on this banjo bolt right here. So it's on this corner right here. And then the other part of the C-clamp is going to be right in here. So we'll just spin it in. So just be sure to spin it slowly. You don't have to spin it in that fast. So while you're doing that, you can see that the caliper is moving. We will loosen these two 14mm bolts right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to hang the caliper. So get maybe either a cable or a cord, hook it onto the hole right here, right there. As you can see here, the caliper is being suspended on this wire right here. You don't want it to hang by the brake line. So here are the two brake pads. We'll just take it out. And as you may notice, here on the inside, there's going to be a wear indicator, which is this little piece of metal here. We will be reusing that. Unless the new brake pad kit will come with new hardware, we will be reusing this one. And now what we'll take off is this bracket. There's going to be two 17mm bolts. They will be on pretty tight, so you're probably going to need either some sort of extension or maybe a breaker bar. So take these two out. We took off the bottom bolt already. Now we'll take off the top. Just make sure to hold on to the bracket, because once you take off the top, it's going to drop. So you take that out. I'm holding it in with my thumb, so just pull it off. And now what we'll do is we take off the rotor. For this particular one, it's already loose, but if it's rusted on, what you can do is you get two bolts and you'll just screw it in. These bolt size are, looks like M8 by 1.25mm. So what you'll do is you'll just screw it in, both bolts, and this will push the rotor out. But this rotor already came out really easy, so I don't have to do anything. Now if you don't have these bolts, you can always hammer the back here if you're not going to reuse the rotor. But as you can see here, it's already loose, so I didn't have to use the bolts. So we'll just take off this rotor. So now, if there's a lot of rust on the hub here, what you'll do is you'll just get a wire brush and just try to brush off all the rust off it. Now what we'll do is we'll be cleaning the guide pins. Now this is the guide pin. What you're going to do is you're going to hold on to this rubber piece, pull it back, and pull off the top. And what we'll do here is we'll just clean off the old grease. And once it's all clean, we will put on some silicone paste. So you don't have to put that much in there, just put about that much is okay. And what you'll do here is to put it back, you will be pulling the rubber boot back, and you should be able to just slide the guide pin in. This, by holding the boot back, you're pushing all the air out. And once the guide pin is all the way in, you can just put the boot on top, pull it over. If it doesn't work, just kind of spin the guide pin in a little bit, and it should go. The boot should go over the guide pin, like that. All the air is out. And what we'll do here is now we'll go to the other one. This is the bottom one. The way you know that it is the lower guide pin. So to do that, we hold on to the boot while pulling the guide pin out. Again, to tell that it is the lower piece, it has this black rubber piece on the end of the guide pins. And what we'll do there also, we'll just clean it out. Now that we got all the old grease out, what we'll do is we'll put on some of this silicone paste on here. You don't have to use that much. Oops, that was a lot. Okay, so and we'll do the same procedure here. So hold on to the guide pins, pull the boot back, and then what you're going to do is just slowly push in the guide pin. And you can just turn it slightly while you're pushing it in. And there you go. Now the boot is over the guide pin, or a portion of the guide pin. So now this part's done. Now this is the new rotor. What we'll do is we'll use some brake clean, spray a little bit of that, and we're gonna wipe it. And then we'll spray the other side. So now we have the new rotors. What we'll do is we'll just mount it. And what I normally do is I'll use a couple of these lug nuts just to hold the rotor in place. Now, if you receive some new hardwares with the brake pads, this is the time to do it. So these are the new hardwares that you may get. These little aluminum pieces here, you can just take them off just like that if you get some new ones, and then put some new ones in. But we did not receive any new ones with this pads, so we're just going to reuse them. And these are the new pads. As you can see, they don't come with the wear indicator, so what we'll do is we'll reuse the wear indicator from the old pads. As you can see here, these two pads, the old one, this is the wear indicator. All you have to do is pry it off and put it into the new brake pads. Should be able to just pull it right off. So you just should be able to just pull it off like that. Now if you can't pull it off, you can just use a little screwdriver just to pry it off, and put it in the same orientation as the old one. So this one's just like this. And normally what I do is the wear indicator, I make it pointing up and on the inside of the rotor. So we'll set that one aside, and we will just put the brackets in. So now we'll put the brackets in. You're gonna tighten these two 17mm bolts, one on bottom, one on top. Now this is going to be up for debate, but for me, what I normally do is I use these brake and caliper grease, and I put the grease on this little surface right here, just a little light grease on this little edge. Some people just say you don't need it, but me personally, I just been doing it for a long time. So what I normally do is I just put a little grease here, but again, it's up to you. You can opt not to use this grease, but if you do use it, try to avoid not touching this the pad on this surface right here. You just want to just put it on just this metal piece. And the one on the outside is the one without the wear sensor, so we'll just put it in here. And then this one has the wear sensor, which is this little piece. We'll put a little grease on this side. And then we will put it on the inside. Just like this here. Just like that. Now we will move the caliper over the brake pads. So now, before actually putting over the brake pads, we need to push the pistons in to make room. There's a little gap right here, so what we need to do is, if you have a C-clamp, you're going to just squeeze it right like that, or here I have this tool where it squeezes the pistons in. So what I do with this is I put this over just like this. Again, if you have a C-clamp, it'll work too, but I just use this tool because it's easier for me. So what I do is, when you spin this here, it just keeps on pushing the pistons in. So I just use this old brake pad in place so I don't scratch or mar the piston. So if you just keep on spinning, as you can see, it's going down. Or actually, it's going in right here, so it makes more space. And you keep on spinning it until it's all the way in. And it's slowly moving the piston in. Now there's other tools to do that also, but this is a little cheap tool that I have. So what we'll do here is we'll put this portion here, the top part of the caliper, the guide pin bolt, and we'll just screw this portion in. So if it doesn't go in, you kind of have to move it a little bit until it goes in. And now that the top portion is in, we can slide it down, and just be sure, if you come look down here, make sure this thing is in. If it's sticking out, push it in so the caliper here can go over it, just like that. And what we'll do is we will slide this guide pin bolt in here, and we're gonna tighten it. Now if you're having trouble it going in, just remember that this can move around just like this, so make it work. So we'll just tighten both of these. Now that we've tightened the lower and the upper guide pin bolts, what we'll do is we will just take out the two lug nuts that we use to hold on the rotors. Now we've just completed one side of the brakes. What we'll do is we'll lower the car and then torque the lug nuts. Then you will need to go to the other side and do the brakes on the other side. Now that we've completed both sides of the car, what we'll do is we'll just close the cap on the reservoir. And what you want to do before you drive the car is you want to step on the brakes 5 to 10 times. Now if you don't step on the brakes before driving, what's going to happen is that you might not have brakes, so be careful. Always step on the brakes about 5 to 10 times before you actually start driving. And that is all. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Okay.